Greetings everybody, Steve here, and it is March 13th, 2021, which means I've got a new story to bring you from the various histories of March 13th. Anyway, I have a truly ridiculous story for you today. I don't even have to sugarcoat it. This is just dumb. So just for starters, the title of the article that I'm using for the story that I'm using today is titled "No Butter on His Toast." And that's not a metaphor. This is really about butter on toast. Reminds me, if any of you worked for Century Theaters back in like the mid 2000s, like 2005, 2006, 2007, and the pre-show would be playing and they would say "real butter on our popcorn," which is a reference to the music that they played, I think. That's what that title reminds me of. Anyway, that's some personal nostalgia, but okay, we got this guy, Malcolm Douglas Stroud, who goes to a Denny's in Portland for a breakfast. He orders whatever he orders. They didn't really explain in detail like all of his meal, except that it came with buttered toast. The menu promised buttered toast. When the meal was delivered to Stroud, he noted that the butter was still like really hard, like it had just been like pulled out of a fridge or freezer or something. So he's like, "This is crap. I want hot, warm butter on my toast. I'm a paying customer." And so apparently the waitress that he complained to took it back, fixed it, but when she brought the new toast out, it was like exactly the same. So Stroud, as it seems, he kind of just dealt with it. He ate his meal, but did not. The article actually says it's unknown whether Stroud actually ate any part of the buttered toast or not. This is a genuine newspaper article, and it's like, it's unknown whether he actually took a bite out of that toast, whether he partook of any of that butter. And so when he's done and time comes to pay, he personally says he's going to deduce the price of the toast because it wasn't to his satisfaction. The customer's always right. And so the head cook kind of overhears this and screams at him from the kitchen like, "You're gonna pay your whole bill, you bastard." I want to say it was like 25 cents for the toast, or maybe the meal was 25 cents. I don't remember, but so this argument ensues. And what I think happened, because it seems like there was this massive argument that started between Stroud and the Denny's cook. This guy's proud. He's a cook at Denny's. You don't criticize his food. So I get the feeling that when the waitress initially took the toast back in and said, "Oh, the butter's all hard and frozen," the cook was like, "Screw that guy, take the toast back out to him and just tell him it's, we fixed it. I don't have time for this today." It wouldn't surprise me if the cook was just like, just take the same toast back. I don't care." So the waitress does it and is like, "Oh, here it is, it's fixed." And he's like, "No, this looks exactly the same." Considering the circumstances, I feel like that's probably what happened. So an argument starts, and the cook says he's gonna call the cops. "You don't walk out of my Denny's without paying for your toast." And Stroud is, of course, like, "Are you kidding me? No, you're not gonna do nothing to me. I'm out of here." And reportedly, the cook contacted the police and then personally apprehended Stroud under citizen's arrest because he didn't pay for his food. "You're a thief, Mr. Stroud." So it's just a train wreck. And the police finally show up And they're probably like, this is the dumbest damn thing ever. All of this over a piece of toast. Not even really the piece of toast. There was no real complaint about the toast itself. It was just the butter. This was all over a little bit of butter. So, you know, I would be inclined to be like, man, poor Stroud. Like, I understand him. It's a little bit douchey to be like, what am I paying for this toast, when it was probably barely any amount of the check. But at the same time, you know, I don't see why it was such a big deal if they wouldn't just take that little bit off. And, you know, and then they apprehend him there. So, like, I would almost feel, you know, majority sympathy towards Mr. Stroud. But here's the thing. I have no sympathy for people who use literally any incident they can to try to sue someone. If someone really wrongs you and it's a real big deal and you sue them, that's one thing. But people take out, the moment that there's the slightest chance they can't, people will take out lawsuits for the most obscene things. They will ruin businesses just to try to win a lawsuit and get a bunch of money that they really don't deserve. And that's the case for a lot of lawsuits. So, frivolous lawsuits, as they're frequently called, I have little to no sympathy towards people that do that. They're just people trying to scam money that found a avenue to do so. That being said, in relation to the events that happened at this Portland Denny's, now he was actually arrested for theft under those circumstances. He was trying to steal free toast, but that charge was eventually dropped. However, Stroud then brought on a suit earning $1,600 in what was described as general damages and $9,000 in punitive damages, and this was awarded him. He was awarded $10,600 for what he went through. And mind you, this isn't $10,000 today. This is $10,000 way back in the day. Like, just obscene. Like, whatever $10,600 was in that time, here's how much that money would be worth today. Like, how does someone get that? Now, I understand, like, the guy was, citizen's arrest was engaged, and maybe that was a little excessive. But, I mean, technically, you're allowed to do a citizen's arrest under certain circumstances. I don't think this quite qualified, but I also don't think Stroud was entitled to that much money for the pain and suffering that he experienced. I mean, even the greatest potential injustice against him was that he was charged for theft over a piece of toast, but that charge again was dropped and it was removed from his record, so he had no lingering criminal record after he tried to take on fugitive practices at the local Denny's. So it was just, and then see, this all happened earlier than the article that I actually found discussing this story, because the article that I found discussing the story was how this case was brought to the Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court, which I can understand. Like, fine, you know, maybe give this guy a little bit of money, maybe give him $250 for his trouble, which still would have been a decent chunk of change back then. But Stroud's suit victory, the justice or injustice of that went to the Oregon State Supreme Court, and the state Supreme Court upheld. They found that it was justifiable that he received this much money for the anguish that he suffered. And I'm sorry, maybe the guy deserved something, but that's a bunch of crap, in my personal opinion. I'm sure there'll be at least one person coming on in the comments that has a comparable story and is deeply, deeply offended that I would act like this was such an insignificant situation that really did not bear the need for massive prosecution. And to that person, you're nuts. So just, that's it. Don't expect me to comment, reply to your comment. I'm telling you right now, you're nuts. And maybe Maybe Malcolm Douglas Stroud was a little bit crazy. Maybe the cook at the Denny's was a little bit crazy. And then there was the waitress. She just got mixed up in all of it. I don't know. Maybe we're all just crazy. And that's the moral of the story. So I would like to thank you again, as always, for stopping by, listening to another weird, kooky story that I stumble upon in my ongoing, fairly new series here, This Day in History. All that said, remember to like, share, subscribe, all those fun little things that help a channel grow. And the link to my Patreon page is in the description below, which will, if you go over there and become a patron, that'll really help me. And I'm also posting stuff there frequently. Also, the link to my Instagram and Facebook page is closely related to what I'm doing on this channel and my main channel, Steve the Amateur Historian. They're also linked there. So lots of different places for you to go. All that said, this has been Steve. See you next time.